What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering, and some interesting news coming out of, I guess, Marvel via YouTuber Nerdrotic, who put this all together. So kudos to him. Excellent YouTube channel, excellent beard as well. Highly recommend his channel. And now I've covered before the Marvel's New Warriors, which featured amazing characters like Snowflake and Safespace. Unironically, many people thought that this was a poking fun at kind of the anti SJW side of comic books, but that really wasn't what it was. This book was unironic and real. The author, Daniel Kibblesmith of The Colbert Show, put together what is one of the most mocked and also legendarily most disliked videos on Marvel's entire channel. This video will go down in infamy as a hilarious failure, and a few local comic book shops bought copies of it ironically, which I thought was both hilarious and also pretty telling. I mean, would I proudly display a copy of Marvel's New Woke Warriors behind me? Absolutely. But just for the jokes. And I'm not sure that as a multi-billion dollar corporation, that's the selling point you want. I don't think that they had any interest at all in being mocked soundly by the internet. They thought somehow that this book was going to be a good idea. And that's really primarily a result of too much time on Twitter. I've talked about this many times on my videos. Twitter is not real life. Neither is Facebook, although it kind of represents it a little bit better. When you spend all day on Twitter, all you see are the extremes, and they sound really loud. You see the best of the best, you know, the little cute hedgehog videos, and then you also see the worst of the worst. And you get this mindset, almost it poisons your mind to think, oh, this is reality. You know, this stuff's happening everywhere, when in reality it isn't. And this is what you get. You get superstars or superheroes like Snowflake Safespace and Trailblazer with her magic backpack to carry snacks. Even Cosmic Book News covered this. Sure, all 6 issues of Marvel Comics announce the new, sure to last all 6 issues, Marvel Comics announces the new Warriors, an SJW team of teen superheroes, written by a writer for the Stephen Colbert Show. Yikes. Daniel Kibblesmith, also lovingly called Danielle Kibblesmith, with Ironheart double yikes artist Luciano Vecchio. The new Warriors follows a group of teen superheroes that are mentored by the original New Warriors. Apparently, what happens is a law passed that makes it illegal for there to be superheroes unless they have an official government-assigned mentor. What happened to the point of using costumes to hide one's identity? I would argue that pretty sure superheroes have always been illegal. Batman famously is, you know, while he works with the city to clean up the streets, is also considered a vigilante and hunted by those same police. Marvel.com offers former teen vigilantes Night Thrasher, Firestar Rage, Speedball, now Merida, and Silhouette step up to impart their wisdom to a batch of promising young kids. Now, remember the one kid who he got his superpowers from his grandfather's being exposed to his granddad's internet gas, whatever the hell that is. Then you had Snowflake and Safespace, non-binary superheroes, and then Trailblazer, a chunky superhero who has a magical backpack. I don't know about you, but I used to think, when I think superhero, I think of characters like Wolverine or Jean Grey or Storm, Thor, the Incredible Hulk. I don't think of B Negative, a weird goth vampire kid, or Trailblazer, an overweight neon backpack toting superhero, apparently. The hilarity of watching this character run in the comic books is just absolutely delicious. However, interestingly enough, it looks like the book may have been canceled. When we look, this was brought to my attention again by a Neurotic, when we try to look for New Warriors on Comixology, New Warriors #1 out of 5. If we try to click on this, oops, the content you're looking for is no longer available. They have removed it from the site. So now that the video, because it's not on the site, maybe that means it's sold out. We don't know for a fact that it means that they've pulled back. However, there is a second article on the trash website known as bleedingcool.com, which happens to categorize another scenario in which they titled Marvel Comics Collections Reveal Details of What Could Have Been. I suppose the only way to take that is that it is not that way anymore. Yesterday, Bleeding Cool highlighted Darkhold as a comic book series that is no longer on the Marvel Comics schedule, but with a future collection listing revealing that might have been and may still be just one day, just not now. So I think delayed at minimum, right? There are a number of other similar collections listed as well. Again, these may happen, these may not happen, they may happen later, we don't know. And interestingly enough, the books that are on this list are all kind of that, I mean, America Chavez, we've got Children of the Atom, which, by the way, flew under the radar. It's even worse, I think, than New Woke Warriors. You have the when did X-Men get sidekicks? Now, don't miss the debut of the greatest teenage superhero team of all time. Now, it's a YA book, fine, but it is cringe. I can't imagine any teenagers gravitating towards this. I mean, unless they want to usher back in an era where the only people that bought comic books were the kids that got beat up. I'm not sure. But then on this list, you also have Champions, but then you have New Warriors. So I don't know what exactly this all means. They talk New Warriors. New is the new old, by Daniel Kibblesmith, Luciano Vecchio, and Vecchio. R.B. Silva. Now this is back to October 2020. Now, don't call it a comeback or Night Thrasher will knock you out. Better yet, he'll get one of the new recruits to do so, with Kamilla's Law in full effect, forbidding unsupervised superheroics by... Who is this book for? I mean, I can't... I think my sister would have called this lame. I don't even understand who the hell this book is for. This is what happens when, you listen to Twitter. I don't know exactly what they're saying, right? Because they're saying that a future collection listing revealing what might have been and may still be one day, just not now. So it's I don't know if this is saying that New Warriors is off the list or what's going on, because they really don't have any context. Again, these may happen. They may happen later, but the listings are yet to be amended. So Marvel Comic Collections revealed details of what would have been. Okay, well, does that mean that it was canceled? The fact that it's not on the website, it sure would be interesting to talk to that comic book guy, was it Big Jim or something like that, who said that he bought 500 copies of this book because he thought it was basically a lull fest. But if we look at the comic book sales in and of itself, we can look at even what DC did today, admitting that they've had sustained, stagnant growth. Now, the comic book medium is one that has seen some resurgence in nostalgia buys, but also a burgeoning independent market out there, outside of DC and outside of Marvel, basically operating exclusively on Indiegogo, is putting up some serious numbers too. It's proof that people are still interested in books. They're just not interested in maybe the Green Lantern like they used to be. AT&T owned DC Comics admitted in an email sent to retailers that comics have sustained stagnant market growth while announcing they will no longer be working with Diamond Comics distributors. Brutal. The email details that DC business relationship with Diamond Comics distributors ends effective following Diamond's distribution of product offered on DC's FOC list for June. So it's essentially effective immediately. The email goes on to state, in the near term, Diamond will only be fulfilling orders placed through June 1st. Final order cutoff. Okay, that's what FOC is. Final order cutoff will not solicit the sale of new DC titles further. That's nuts. It adds to ensure a smooth transition for retailers. DC will suspend the FOC cutoff for June 8th, making those books available to order on final order cutoff of June 15th. They also announced that they are committed to having the new DC comics go on sale on Tuesdays instead of Wednesdays. They stated DC is committed to Tuesday on sale dates so that our product is offered on the same day in all retail channels. That's very good. People don't go to the most people don't go to the comic book shop twice in a week. You know, a lot of people, if you're like your dedicated buyers, you have a pull list that you just pick up when you get to it, usually maybe Friday or something. The announcement comes after DC detailed that they were exploring a multi-distributor model back in March. As to why they decided to cut ties with Diamond Comic distributors, they pointed to sustained stagnant market growth. They explained that DC has been analyzing the direct market distribution for some time, long before Tom Hanks' disease, specifically in the light of sustained stagnant market growth. So, I mean, they're not blaming Diamond, obviously, but it's interesting. I think that taking more direct-to-market type purchases, you know, it works. We see several creators, Ethan Van Sciver, for example, has done millions of dollars in sales direct to consumer. Mark Gallo, the owner of Past, Present, Future Comics in West Palm Beach, reacted to the news, telling Bounding Into Comics, "It's terrible timing. When stores are suffering the most, we don't need added costs and a loss of terms. We can't seem to catch a break. We can overcome so much of this, but this is insult to injury." He continued, "The new entity won't have any incentive to provide terms, in my opinion." That means terms is like you get to put the order and then you have a certain amount of time to pay it back. So when you run a small business, this is crucial. You don't have the money to buy the entire month's comic books right away up front, most of them. So, I mean, terms are super, super important. I have personally 28 terms with Diamond, and I'm assuming it'll be cash on delivery with the new distributor, and this looks really bleak. So yeah, already struggling comic book shops that really took a hit when everything got shut down now have to look at maybe not even be able to buy the books that their customers need. You know, if this had happened in a time of great financial success for them, maybe it wouldn't have been as damaging. But when you're looking at comic book shops that are probably entirely broke, now having to lose the terms, possibly, this is going to be for a lot of comic book shops, the final nail in their coffin. And it's really sad because, you know, comic book shops are run by fans. They're not a high profit business. They're a passion project. And most of them live month to month. And, you know, just missing the last month or two, it's going to be sad to see how many of these places close down. And if without the local comic book shop, you're going to have this tumbling downhill effect where fewer and fewer kids are going to have places to get comic books, and it's just going to be a very slow or very fast snowball effect where, you know, you have fewer books available in town, then people get less interested in books. The digital book thing essentially was a failure. Nobody wants digital comic books, not for $3. I mean, if they were a nickel, maybe. So they really blew it here. They missed the idea that their real customers willing to pay $30, $40, $50 for special editions and things like that people in the Indiegogo scene started doing. People want more than just variant covers. They want more value. They're willing to spend the money, but the behemoth that is Marvel and DC have long not cared about the comic book industry, and they continue to put out terrible books that nobody wants, and they wonder why stores are closing. I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.